Oh, I need my background. Damn microphone right in the way. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? How'd your call go today?
Oh, please. Which one? I had about, how many calls did I have today, Steph? I had 16 calls today,
My God.
including squeezing in a webinar.
Keeps it
So
interesting. Keeps
yeah,
it
yeah,
interesting.
to say the least. But I'm okay. I didn't think I'd be done. That's why I asked you if you. Plus, I thought I'd be ready for bed, but after all those calls, I have to unwind a little bit. So let me just get my video set up here.
Cool.
I need a virtual background while you pour a cocktail.
Yep.
What's on the bar menu tonight?
Um, Actually, in aviation,
Nice. I saw those. How are they?
the the old fashioned is fantastic.
They're pre-made, right?
Yeah, but it's
And how
not
much
creep. It's
and how
actually
much
great.
alcohol is in them? Do they
The
have normal alcohol?
Well, the margaritas and stuff are like 40%, or 40 proof, so they're not, which a margarita probably is. But the old fashioned man is 80 proof. It's like the real deal.
Really?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Especially if you
Cool.
want to be
Cool.
lazy. Like I like to make an old fashioned, but if I'm feeling lazy, it's the best way to do it. And Iva will agree with me 100%.
There's our girl Iva. But
Hello.
40 proof just means it has way too much sugar in it, though.
Yeah, yeah, that's
40
right.
proof means there's not enough alcohol
Yeah, it means you're waking up with a bad hangover too.
Yeah,
from all the sugar, you're just dehydrated. It's not because you got drunk.
right. So they make coconut water for Iva,
That's right.
or
And
Pedialyte.
Tylenol and acetaminophen.
What's really funny? I mean, obviously, it's like now they do IV after a weekend in Vegas, but it's funny they actually make a Pedialyte now that we're trying to market like a Gatorade, but with like real electrolytes or something like that. Like it wasn't like an adult Pedialyte where if you were dehydrated and the doctor said go to the Walgreens
Well,
and buy it.
if
This
they're
is meant to be
smart,
like, oh,
they're
you
going to
drank
put
too
that
much,
into a. If they're smart, they'll put that into a Bloody Mary mix.
right?
So Iva, how are you? Happy birthday! I didn't get to say it. I
I'm
wrote it,
good.
but
Thank you.
It is.
Thanks. I'm not
It is
having any
birthday.
more.
yeah,
I'm
don't we all
done.
wish?
I'm done.
James, you ready to fire up Facebook Live? See if we can get it running here.
Um,
Take a
yeah,
look.
I don't see it on my end, so you have to do it from
Yeah, no,
yours.
I'll try it. I'll fire it up. Don't mind me. I didn't get dressed up tonight.
Nor did I.
Has it been raining up there, James? Like here for the last 5 days?
Oh, it's so annoying.
It's miserable.
Oh,
Let's
actually,
all cross our fingers. There's always YouTube. Iva, you got to let me know what time slot you want me to be in
Okay.
on the other thing. And
Mhm.
are we getting a list of subjects together? I know the overall subject, but are we getting like a list of who's doing what particular part of that subject?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll put that all together and send it out.
Okay. Let's see if it goes live on here. Gotta move my phones around a little bit. And it looks like it went live. James, you got it on Facebook?
yep, it is up and ready to go.
Cool. Yeah, popped through. Awesome. Let me mute my video, mute my
Hey,
audio so we.
Andrew.
His mic's not on yet. It's coming.
Come on, Andrew.
He's miming.
I'm here.
Or
There
voguing.
he
I don't know which
is.
one.
Hey, how are you?
Hi,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Oh, it's dark in here. Jeez. Look at
It
this.
is. It is.
There you
You
Bill.
look like usually I'm the one that has it. Looking like you're in the FBI interrogation.
Yeah, gotta do something about this. Gotta do something about
He's
it.
in the witness protection program.
I think so. Terrible. Oh my gosh.
And we're only missing our girl Nikki as usual.
Where is she?
Gotta let there be light. Sometime. We shall figure this out.
Hey,
How are
Nancy.
you doing?
Let's see.
She said she'll be there in a minute. She's outside having a cigarette.
Hey, James, where can you see the attendees in the live on Facebook? Showing it. Doesn't show, it just shows the comments?
It just shows the comments.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, on Facebook Live. We'll get started here in about 10 minutes.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Busy day, huh, Andrew? Yeah,
Oh my
you
God.
had your yeah, I heard, and Bethany, who was on after you from the Beaumont, she said she was like burned out because she was on video for like 3 hours today.
Bethany is incredible.
Did she do a good job?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I think Stacy, Bethany was all over Ninja. And but she did it beautifully. And I was really, I must say, I was really impressed with some of the things that, she and you, I'm sure, have come up with about Ninja. It was awesome.
Good.
No, I mean, couldn't have been better.
And Nikki and Iva have been plugging us like crazy too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Actually, one of the salon owners that was on with us today got your contact information from me. Her name is Karen Hoschultz. She's from Apple Face Spa.
I just sent her a link for our calendar, and
Oh, good.
waiting for her to sign.
This
Sign
can't
up
be
for
any
it.
worse. This is much worse. I'm gonna.
What, you got a flashlight in there?
It's terrible.
It's a pin light.
Is your power out and you're shining the flashlight from under the covers or something?
Come on, Andrew, tell the truth.
Awful.
Well, it is close to Halloween. He should put the flashlight
Ah.
on.
Oh yeah, under his chin.
You know what I just ordered, James? I just ordered, because my lighting's terrible too. I just ordered the like one of those adjustable LEDs for behind the screen, a big one, and it's got a remote control that you can adjust it to warm, to cool, all that stuff. So
That's really cool. There's actually some newer ones that are on like Kickstarter or one of those things. Just you never trust how long it's going to take to get some of those, but it actually, I guess it's magnetic.
Steph just said bump up your volume a little bit, James.
Let's see if that
Hello.
worked.
Andrew's got his ring light.
Hey, Derek, Nikki said it's telling her she needs permission. Hold on a
James,
minute.
did you? I'm sure she doesn't.
This is why I like email.
James, you want to get her the login, the admin login?
Yeah, he sent it.
There we go.
Hold on a minute.
If she went through the admin way,
Yeah,
she
go to the first one that he sent, not the second one,
yeah.
because the first one's for panelists. Okay.
We better, boys and girls.
We are.
That's a
How
little
much
better.
Find it.
Nancy Farrell said, "Awesome, Andrew."
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy Farrell. Well, I had won a,
There
There
she
she
is.
hey, there she is. I won a setup, one of those professional lighting setups, and my wife said, give it away. It's too big for our house.
That's what I have. I have the big giant ones with the umbrellas,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they just don't work here. So they make one that clips onto the back of your computer screen, a square one that's LED adjustable with bright yellow. It goes yellow and white, so you can adjust the temperature. So
Well, after
Where'd you
you
see
get it,
that,
let me
Derek?
know.
I found it on Amazon. It was like $119.
That's okay,
It's
because
really,
that's when I saw
really
them.
nice.
Okay.
I'll shoot you the link for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hi.
shoot me the link for it too.
Yeah, definitely, because my lighting is horrendous. It's just when in the daytime when I have, you can't see because I have the green screen on now, but I have blinds behind me because I have these two picture windows. And when the light comes through there, I look like I'm in the witness protection
Yeah,
program.
I know, Derek. We've
So
been
you need more light in front of you, right? And then at nighttime, it does just the opposite. So it's just, what a pain in the ass.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Can
Nikki.
you guys all hear me?
Yep.
Hear you, Nikki.
Awesome.
Hey,
Okay.
Derek, could we get a green screen that says BBR?
That
We
would
should
be-
make one. We should make one. It shouldn't be hard. James, you want to do the Goodfellas and then BBR?
Yeah,
And
let's do it.
All right.
That's a great
All right,
idea.
sounds
You know
good.
what's nice about having it not as a green screen and having an actual background is that it doesn't ever get funky. Like sometimes the background,
true.
it's standing, which is pretty cool. We got to find one that we can attach on our shoulders though, so it doesn't take up any space in the house. You can just wear it like
By
a
the way,
backpack and it lays right behind you.
hopefully it won't die out. No, you can't really see it. It's
No.
killing it. So the wine of tonight is Santa Margherita Pinot Grigio from Italy.
Yes.
Going old
Alto
school.
Adige 2019. That's a good one.
Pinot Grigio. Thumbs up.
What number is this right now? What number are we on?
70.
Special BBR 70.
70. I
70.
get to remember the big 70. Yay.
I know, I can't believe 70. We'll probably
know, right?
by the time we end the year this year before the holidays, I think we'll hit 75.
Oh, yes.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Nikki, you got two, right? And James, who else we got on the schedule?
We have my friend Joe from Canada next week from Sales Hero Academy. Joe gave me got my feet wet when nobody knew
That
what
should
Zoom
be
was.
awesome.
Joe's great. The week after that, we have Anthony Whitaker is going to be with us. So he's going to be will be another 2 p.m. to handle our friends overseas, which will be pretty cool. And then we have Nikki scheduled for another. Let's see what Nikki's on.
Compensation part 2.
Yeah.
So Nikki's on after that for compensation part 2. We'll probably be off that Black Friday after Thanksgiving. I think Cyber Monday might ruin our Facebook Live.
I don't think so, because that isn't, well, we'll be off here, but isn't that when we're doing ours, Nikki?
Yeah. Facebook Live
130th.
apparently is not working, by the way. Facebook Live is off. Oh, there it is. It's on back. It's back on now. That's
Yeah,
weird.
it's
I heard
live
Black,
on my.
Derek, it's
Black Friday
29th
was
and 30th.
canceled.
Okay.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, how's Black Friday canceled? It's just shopping. Just go online. How's that?
Well, Target
Not the
has
same,
Black
Nikki.
Friday month.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Right.
You have to stay in the store at like 3 a.m.
Yes, it's not the same. You have to go in at 2 a.m.
I have never shopped on Black Friday, just so you guys know.
That's why you can't appreciate it.
Well, it's funny, big thing this year is Macy's is going to actually close on Thanksgiving. So they're going to do, I think they're going to
As
do their
they should.
Thanksgiving.
They're
Well,
not doing the
But
parade
I'm a
this
big
year either.
believer in these stores not being open. Like Best Buy, if you're open on Thanksgiving, I'm sorry, but don't do that. It's just silly. It's Thanksgiving. Like, just, enjoy.
Yeah, and listen, with the whole Black Friday Cyber Monday thing, they have so many more opportunities. Why,
Right.
who
Yeah.
wants to get up off the couch after eating turkey and try to score a TV for $100? I mean, it's just not worth it.
Right.
Right. So we've got about 20 in the Facebook. Welcome everybody to the Facebook Live. And if you're in here in the Zoom, welcome. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. And James is going to be the moderator this evening because I've only had about 16 client calls today. So
Busy day.
Nick, as I was saying to Iva, thank you so much for promoting us out there.
You're welcome.
Karen already reached out.
Good. Did you get a lot of calls from it?
Just Karen made well, she emailed me. She's making an appointment, so we'll see where it goes from there.
Honestly, business owners would be foolish not to. I mean, when it comes to a digital marketing platform that, you know, teaches you the features and how to work digital marketing these days, it would be foolish not to do, especially if you guys do.
Iva, you got the initial build for my development team for you to start picking through, correct?
Okay. We started compiling the data for you. It's happening.
That's great.
Trying to get, 30 people together to take pictures and write their damn bios. I'll write your bio for you.
Send it to them.
I mean, and they should make it fun. I don't know why they don't treat bios like totally fun.
They don't even want to have their picture taken.
Oh my goodness.
Who is they?
The team.
All of our stylists.
All of our whole team.
Our whole team.
Talk about this. Stephanie, that's her name, right, Derek? Stephanie, out in Ohio. Bethany. Sorry about that. She used Ninja. She put up landing pages for every one of her stylists.
I think that's beautiful.
And it all
beautiful
works together. Comes in to the Ninja.
There's just so many possibilities, Andrew.
Every stylist has their own online calling card.
That particular salon is we'll call it leading the pack in Ninja clients, right? I keep an eye on who's generating the most revenue. They will be the first $100,000 in immediate income. That's probably going to happen like within the next week. And over the long term, they've already generated in long-term potential at least $1 million on the platform.
Good for her.
So,
good job, Bethany. Good job.
But don't, I just love that everyone on her team has their own page.
I love that.
What and you can opt in for appointment. Them, right? It's all tied up.
I'm what? I'm what?
You're coaching them, correct? The Beaumont, you're coaching.
Well,
right?
Yes, through events and through calls, but not like a formal monthly. But yeah, they're a wonderful. I just talked to Bethany last week actually.
They're awesome. We had them on Salon Today's Digital Driven today. We got them set up for that, so they did their interview today. Andrew did his interview today with the Digital Driven. Andrew, what's the name of it? The total name? Salon Today Digital Driven.
Data Driven.
Data Driven. I knew it was something.
Whatever.
Like that. Thank you. Too many names in my brain. It's been a long day. Yeah. And if anybody from Salon Today is here today, Stacy Sobel or any of the people that work with her, well presented, and
they've done a great job. They've done a great job, and the people they've had on it, terrific.
And any of our BBR friends that are on Salon Today 200, October 31st is the deadline date. It was a lot of categories. There was a lot of fun things, whether it was compensation, which we're going to talk about tonight, or some other fun things that you could do. This year, it's all about COVID and your COVID recovery and some of the fun things that you've been able to do either to engage your team or to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is what we've been talking about for the last bunch of months now. But don't forget, October 31st is the deadline date.
Okay, awesome. Want to get started, guys? Or
we're going to get started in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, everybody. Make sure you invite everybody on your Facebook Live or onto the platform, and we will get started.
You know, honestly, as many questions as we get asked about compensation, I'm not sure why there's not 200 people on here. Do you guys agree with me?
I don't disagree with you there, but guess what? Usually within an hour or two of these recordings, we had how many views last week, Andrew? Within like an hour? Over 1,000 views of the video already.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Within an hour of what?
Of the video finishing up and us posting it. I posted last week's video very quickly afterwards. So
It's just you think the time and stuff like that. People just can't do that.
Yeah, it's hard. We all have crazy lives right now, but we're all here for you.
That's what they were saying on Data Driven. I mean, people attending live, hey, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but people who registered and pick up after, they have very good traction on that. Makes sense.
Yeah, like Elon Musk just said. What did he say? I posted it. He's working his team outside normal hours. He's having staff meetings at 1 o'clock in the evening, things like that. We're working differently.
In the morning,
so
he had one.
It's fun though. It's fun though. So
right there.
Don't even think about it.
I like it.
You have your 1 o'clock in the meetings now, right? So
I ignore
context.
Yeah, I love it. Nope. Anyway, with that, we're going to get started. James, you want to kick it off?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody, welcome to BBR 70 with our good friends Nikki, Lee, and Iva, who I think out of everybody, you guys have been on this might be your 5th time since we started these for number 70. So a nice percentage there. Nikki and Iva did a great job with our other friend, Gino Stampora, today, talking about a lot of different things that, I can't believe how much you guys covered in that span, but she's going to plug it again near the end, but make sure it was a $25 donation that went to the PBA Disaster Relief Fund. There was so much content there that for $25, listen, it was worth 10 times that, times that. But it was a lot of good stuff and support, especially with all the wildfires and craziness going on. Salon owners, that's like the last thing we would need here on the East Coast, right? It's like COVID and then a wildfire. That my Gino joke was when he talked about Jaguars, that all you need are actual Jaguars running outside trying to pounce on you as you're trying to go to the salon. But girls, take it over, and but definitely check out their call from today too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's we'll have that link. It's a shared video. It's a recorded video that we can share that link with you. It'll be on our Statement Strong course. So we'll just have that link shared to you guys. You just click on it, you'll get the video, and the donation will go to PBA. So, and we did that specifically because we just wanted to give everybody a lot of content to chew on and work through. And I think it went spectacular. Don't you, Iva?
I do.
I'm thrilled with it. And we had a lot of people sign on for it, and a lot of people will probably do the recordings as well. So I appreciate it. I want to, first of all, say thank you for you guys to allow us the opportunity to, again, have an audience. And I want to thank all of you guys for taking time today. Some of you double up, glutton for punishment, took to us in the morning. And then I think somebody else, you jumped on, and then Andrew, and then us. So, I mean, it's just been a day, right? And you guys did a great job with that. So bravo and kudos to you guys. And then you're going to sit here at 8 p.m. and do a compensation class. So I promise you, I'm going to make it worth your while. And I'm going to give you as much compensation information as I possibly can, but in a conversational style. So I do want to have a conversation about things. However, you know me, and I'm all about content and making sure you guys get what you need. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let me go ahead and get to that. Hold on. Here we go. So I'm not going to kill you guys with a ton of.
Good job.
Thanks. Woohoo!
Whoop, whoop.
All right. Let me zoom into that. James, you see that?
God, you're sharing and zooming?
You see that, James?
You're getting good.
Oh my goodness. She's gonna want to raise.
I named this shit compensation strategies overview, and James is like, our class talking about compensation. I was like, oh, that's super gangsta. All right. So let's get right into it. So the planning part. So there's multiple parts of compensation, in my opinion. The first part is really the planning part. You got to do some planning. And really any compensation class that you take, or any HR course, and I've taken some, just so you guys are aware, that it talks about, they always talk about business objectives. So right now, I really want you guys to think about what some of your business objectives are with compensation, right? And so we can all think about, I think everyone just always goes to the conversation of, well, what commission are we going to pay? That's like the big topic of the day. Are we paying 50%? Are we paying 40%? There is so much more to it than that. And I think that we have to educate ourselves to understand what really goes into compensation before we decide on any of these numbers. To me, a lot of compensation goes into, the pre-planning goes into compensation. And so let's start talking about what some of your business objectives are. First of all, we have to forecast staffing levels, right? So we have to understand what we need, you know, when we need it. Do we need this filled? Do we need that filled? What does our team need? Do they need an assistant? Do they need an assistant on Fridays and Saturdays, et cetera? So what are some of your staffing levels that you need? Is it time for a front desk? Can you afford it? And there's ways, and we'll talk a little bit about that, of where you find the money for that, but needed skill coverage, and also centralized back office structure. So meaning like IVA would be my example of centralized back office structure, right, IVA? So you're there and I need IVA to be efficient at what I do. I cannot be as efficient in my business if I didn't have that. And in your business, you may be at that place or you may not be at that place. You know, if you're not, you're doing it yourself. That's totally okay too. But we do need to have that at times. And then you need to build that into another layer of compensation. That's something that's called a business objective. And then you plan that out in your budgetary guidelines for your compensation. Retention of staff. You do need to have career paths. And this is, you hear me talk about this all the time, career ladders and career paths. It's super important. And it drives into everything, meaning, have you built out the structure? And I'm going to share with you specific examples of what that looks like tonight. And remember, this is part one of 2 parts of compensation. So this is going to be kind of an overview. And then part 2, we're going to dive into it a little bit deeper based on your questions that you asked tonight and what you want more focus on. Right. Now, autonomy is really about self-management and leadership. Do you need that? Performance, you need to think about performance. What is the training behind that? You know, Andrew Finkelstein is amazing at talking about high performance. And I think that not only are you trying to drive high performance with just the actual application of it, but how do you pay for high performance? How do you incentivize your performance? And through compensation, you can actually drive that forward a little bit more. Loyalty, right? So it's always about reward, praise, stay true to your reputation, deliver what you promise, and stay ahead of the curve. You need to be competitive in your marketplace at all times. If any company is out there to play the game for real, they're going to play the game this way. They're going to look at their demographics, and they're going to look at their competitors, and they're going to look at how they're staying ahead of the curve when it comes to things like compensation, because it's pretty much one of the major reasons why people come to work for you, not just to build a career or build a pathway, but to find a place that they're going to be able to grow themselves in compensation. And I think what's broken about compensation in our industry, and how do you guys feel about this, is that I think one of the major things that are broken in the beauty industry is that there's no scalability. We don't see compensation having a heightened level of scalability fast. Like, how fast can it grow? Can you grow somebody? We don't even do that right with pricing. How can we do that right with compensation? And so we need to think about what we're doing. So part of your pricing strategy and longevity of that, of building your compensation, really does directly impact your compensation. Do you guys agree with me on that? That it really does take that to drive it home. Now, longevity is, you know, just like, and Derek's going to really appreciate this. So he was a Marine, right? And so in the Marines, we talk about ranks all the time. And it's something that you've heard me bring up before in other conversations. Do we have ranks inside of our salon? Do we have a hierarchy that we've pre-designed out of our brand mission and our brand vision? My vision might be different than Derek's vision, or might be different than James' vision for his salon. Every salon has a different growth pattern, and every salon has a different owner with a different vision. And so we have to think about what that is, but you'll never drive up employee retention unless you drive home that concept of a career ladder. So if you start here with me, you're going to end up here in a year or two, and then another year or two, you're going to end up here, and you use that to your advantage in hiring processes. So really, really important. And then increase productivity by building, hiring, and training support teams, and then continued growth in creating tier pricing. One of the best things you can do right now, if you don't have tier pricing inside of your business and you have a coach, you need to work with the coach on tier pricing immediately. Before you can talk about compensation structures, you need to talk about tier pricing first. That is going to be critical, in my opinion, because tier pricing creates diversification in your ability to capture revenue. And therefore you're going to have, and it's going to translate to diversification within your compensation plans.
Nikki, quick question. Your tier pricing strategies. Can you just dive into that? I know just for a minute. Mine's based on productivity, and I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that.
I actually have shared slides that when you guys get this and you can download this, you guys can actually use it to your advantage. Now, don't follow my numbers. You need to follow numbers that match your budget. But Derek, I actually have entire slides that lay it out. So once I'm going to probably get to that here shortly. Is that okay?
Beautiful.
Okay. So in revenue capture, you need to be able to assess your total gross revenue in comparison to your labor rate. So this is a skill that you're going to have to learn how to assess. You're going to use financial documents to do that. You're going to have to learn that skill, meaning if you don't really know how to master that skill yet, and I know some of you guys are like, I'm an artist, I'm a stylist, I don't know how to do that. That's okay. That's what coaches are for. And so you're going to hire someone like that to really learn how to do something like that. And guys, trust me, it's not as hard as it seems. It seems really hard because all we want to do is like paint hair and like cut hair. But trust me, people who are accountants can't do hair. I promise you that one. But we can learn how to do numbers, and you don't have to be an accountant. You just have to understand the fundamentals and the overview of it. Because when you're making labor rate decisions, it does totally impact against your total gross revenue. So you do need to know that. Then you need to make sure that you do cross comparisons against your pricing scalability. What I mean by that is in all of your tier pricing, in all of your structure about how you create pricing, it directly relates over to your compensation. And that's what I mean by cross comparing that. Again, another task for a coach to do with you. This is not something that you're going to, in my opinion, and you guys throw in your 2 cents on this, but in my opinion, I really think that compensation is one of those tasks that require months of pre-planning. Looking at your numbers, looking at your totals, looking at your team, looking at your productivity, looking at all of those components, and then putting together a really strong program in alignment with a coach or someone who knows. And it might not be but you really should work with a salon coach, because salon coaches understand salons. And most other coaches, business coaches, don't have a clue what a salon really does. You know, I mean, they might guess at it. They can understand it over time, but the learning curve is just so arduous that I don't think you really want to get into that. But a salon coach can really help you. These are the things that you will be assessing before you do compensation. Let me point out that I'm doing a 2-day compensation workshop, just so you guys know that. And yes, I was like 2 days. Yes, 2 days, because it will literally take me 16 hours to teach you. Derek Hull will be joining us on that, because I think Derek is master of this topic as well. Stephen Gomez and John Palmieri and Chris Sulame will be joining us for small increments to dive into their spreadsheets and how they build their compensation structures as well. But I like to teach you how to understand compensation first, so that you're just not doing the cheat sheet version. No cheat sheet versions here. Compensation is literally the most important thing you're going to do in your business, other than hiring the right team members. There's a lot of important tasks, but this is probably way up there. Do you guys agree with me on that? So got to get it right. All right. So retail income for additional compensation ability, how you can pay better is more money you make. And you got to look at all the different revenue streams. Maybe there's some additional revenue streams. We talked about today, and Gino in my class today, with hybrid rentals and perhaps VIP subscriptions. This also drives through a subscription model of driving more revenue in order to drive up your ability, in order to capture revenue, to have a bigger pie, in order to use a little bit more of that big pie to pay out for compensation, which is the name of the game here. Okay. And so pricing is more than just making sure that you charge correctly and charge your damn worth. I hate that so much. I can't even tell you. It's more than that. It's actually how you run a business effectively in order to pay people properly and scale them properly. So if you haven't raised your prices in 10 years, I guarantee you haven't changed your compensation in 10 years. And if you think that when you start a business that you can just create one sliding scale commission structure or a flat rate of 50% and you never change that, you're going to lose people, because people want to grow. And if you don't have the ability to grow them, they're simply just not going to be able to stick around. Would you? I mean, really, right? Okay. So compensation types. This is another component. You need to understand that there's a diversified type. There's many types of compensation. There's commission, which is, by the way, based on billable hours, not you making a random decision about, hey, I'm just going to pay 50% because I don't want to lose people. That's really not going to work for you. You need to assess what you're doing and understand that to create a very deep and highly incentivizing compensation plan, you do need to have multiple types. So commission is one way. Hourly is another. And in hourly, there's going to be overtime and meeting pay and education pay and all of these kinds of things. And yes, I'm telling you, most of you have to pay out, all of us legally have to pay hourly until they hit a commission threshold. And then you grow them above that. That is the compliant way to do that, which is how we will talk about next. And then salaries are for people that obviously are doing tasks that to performance, to complete the task, not to translate their work hours, translate their work into hours, right? So hourly is somebody who works 30 hours a week. You're going to pay them for each hour of their time based on their market share. These are typically low-level skilled employees. The higher the employee skill, you're probably going to drive them more to salary in order to complete tasks, right? And then you have combination double scale pay, which is one of my favorites. And I will demonstrate later on exactly what that looks like. And then you have team-based pay. To me, team-based pay is an addition to compensation plans. It is not a singular compensation plan. I think that team-based pay has to be used to your advantage in order to create teamwork, in order to create team-based pay. For me is really a group of people that have very similar skill sets that have one specific mission, and then they will be paid out on the completion of that mission. And then that is really what I feel team-based pay is. And so if you have a staff that's very diversified in their production, their hours, their money that they make, the revenue and all of that, team-based pay can be frustrating sometimes for them. And you do have to think about perhaps some other ways to performance incentivize them. And then you move into variable-based pay. So we just gave you guys a breakdown of it. And then this slide is just really to share. I'm not going to go over this slide with you guys, but you guys can see based on the different concepts of all the different things you can use. Review these slides later and come on part 2. And if you want to talk more about one of those in particular, ask the questions and let us know. Derek, you asked me the question, how do I grow somebody in the tiers? And so I have about 10 metrics that I ask for them to fulfill and perform. Those are performance metrics, right? Or basically just KPIs. But every salon will focus on different KPIs. Like corporate salons typically only focus on 1 to 3 KPIs. More high-end salons focus on a more diversified type of KPIs like retention ability, pre-booking ability, productivity ability, RTS, retail to service, all these kinds of metrics that you can add into what we call a performance package. And then based on that package of how you lead them up through the career ladder. So position 1, position title of junior stylist, will be able to enhance from junior to tier 1. To finish that tier 1 or to move to that and be promoted, then that tier, you have to finish up these 11, I don't know why my phone is blowing up here, 11 different metrics or 10 different metrics. For me, it's about 10 different metrics. For Derek, you base everything on productivity, right? Or do you have other metrics that you ask them to fulfill when you're coaching?
Yeah, so Nikki, I'm along the same lines as you. 100% your disc is full. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, productivity is one way of jumping people up with a price. That's more of an indicator to me is when you raise their price. Now, if you want to put along raising their price with raising their level, but I look at other key indicators before I do that.
Right.
So I'm 100% behind you. I just hadn't seen this, so I didn't know you had this slide ready. So
how we like to do it is we like to incentivize them for them to understand in our demographic, if they are a tier 4 stylist, they should expect to make, as long as their production level sits at 80% and above, this dollar amount. So from about 80%, they'll see at a tier 4, 76 to 78,000. And then at a production of about 90 to 95% at that tier, they're going to see about 90,000 on their W-2. So these are W-2 amounts. And so we have tracked it for 20 something years. This is what we've seen. So this is a very nice tool to use. This is something that coach can help work with you on to create this. And then when you are hiring and you show them, this is your path, your career path. And by the way, each time you jump one of these, you're going to fulfill some metrics. And the threshold for me is about 80%. If they're fulfilling about 80% of productivity, retention, pre-booking, RTS, whatever, they're going to see a jump to the next tier when it makes sense, because basically what metrics really measure is demand. And if you go back to the age-old concept of supply versus demand, right? So supply is the supply of their time, of their skill, of their availability, of all of those things. Those are metrics. How I translate that is they're converting that to dollars. And if they are busy behind the chair at 80%, it is time to increase prices to the next tier. So they see a promotion, they see a jump. And we manage this with an iron fist, just so you guys are aware, because To be honest with you, stylists don't get to discount and charge randomly and do this. As you guys have all seen, I don't know if any one of you have seen our pricing information, but it is very intensely deep. I
Hey,
think
Nikki,
that,
we had a sorry, just
okay.
a quick question for you. The
Mhm.
hours that you're basing those numbers on, Kelly had asked in the Facebook group. They
The,
40 hour
the,
a week?
this is so our full-time parameter is 38 hours a week scheduled. And so, yes, this is a full-time. Now, obviously part-time will look a little bit different, but to be honest with you, we've seen some breakouts of this range in our team. The stellar performers, they'll be at tier 4 and they'll drop because they had a baby and, down to 25 or 26 hours, but then we've increased their prices. Oh, I'm sorry, we haven't increased their prices. They increase their productivity and we give them a personal assistant and they just work, they schedule tighter. They can actually increase dramatically 20, 30,000 a year in production. And then that translates to a 10 or 12 or $15,000 raise in their compensation. So, but again, this is a range. This is not individual. I'm hoping to encourage for you guys how individual I'd like for you to think about it. This is you building the framework, right? So think of yourself as the person who builds the framework of the house. And then you want to do the drywall. Now, what they're doing is they're adding all of the nice, fun little furniture and decorations inside each room. So then they are building that concept inside. So you build the framework. This is framework. And then they got to come in and they got to put in, right, all the content. Compliance, this is a big deal for me, but I don't want to, this is like a rabbit hole. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I do have a couple slides to share with you. We are not going to go through each key point on here. If you would like to do this on part 2, I am happy to do so. But trust me, it's probably going to end up being like a rabbit hole. There are 3 categories given to every industry, not just the beauty industry, but every industry from the United States government. And it is posted to a document called the FLSA. And if you read the FLSA, they define it very simply. You could be one of 3 things, right? You could be an employer, you can be employee, or you can be a subcontractor. Very simple. There are about 5 points of separation legally to be a subcontractor and an employee, roughly. There could be some other things, but that's basically just. So what we're doing is we are understanding and we're teaching on our contracts what compliance looks like. And so you do have to be very compliant, meaning here are your responsibilities listed in front of you. You guys can take the time to read here while I'm talking to you guys, is some of the things that you need to do. Now, I know I always have owners, and I don't know, Derek, if you've seen this as well, or Andrew, they're like, but wait, I don't need to do that. It's like, they just don't understand. I'm like, no, you actually do. It's compliance is every business has to be compliant.
Nikki, without going into a rabbit hole, like you said, I wrote a blog many years ago because I come from many people know I ran a labor union, the whole state of New Jersey public employees union for many years. So I knew a lot about legal compliance, and it was one of the first things that made my head explode in this industry. Right. So, I mean, you got to be compliant, because trust me, when the IRS walks in and you're not compliant, you're going to be writing a check the size of something you've never, ever dreamed about before.
Right. And don't think that this doesn't happen. Ivan and I have talked to tens of salon owners that this has happened to. So this actually happens. But regardless, don't you want to be correct? And I can't tell you how many times I've talked about this in compliance to somebody and I see their face kind of like lose all the blood in it. And because they're like, what am I going to do now? I've done it this way for this long. What am I going to do now? Well, there's a strategy to getting compliant, but you have to get compliant. The IRS does not play, and the Labor Department does not play. If an employee, and we're not even completely unionized in our industry. There are some unions for barbers and things like this, but there's not a lot of unions in our industry. And can you imagine how strictly employers from other industries that are very unionized have to follow these regulations? This is important. And I can tell you, and Derek, I don't know if you agree with me on this, or James or Andrew, but I would say out of the thousands of salon owners that we talk to, compensation is where they become the least compliant out of almost anything else. And so compliance is absolutely a part of your compensation strategy.
And Nikki, if I can add in, guys, I'm going to tell you, you may think you're skirting under the wire, but the first employee that you piss off that goes outside and asks a lawyer or somebody, are they compliant? And they find out that you're not, you're in for a world of problems.
Right, right. But you know,
And,
we're going to keep this upbeat. Andrew, you want to
we're just a point, we're living in such a litigious society that
right.
it's a silly risk to take, really.
Right, right. Well, but if you're going to play the game, play it right. It's like entering a chess competition and not playing by the rules. It's just not right. Don't do that. Play by the rules. If you want to win at the game, then play the rules. That's just how it goes. And if you're not willing to play by the rules, I'm going to piss some people off here, I'm sure. Then get the F out. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean? Don't do it wrong. Do it right. Learn what you need to learn. Be compliant.
Hey,
Understand.
listen,
No more excuses.
so I was in contract recruiting for a long time, and where we are in Bergen County, you have Mercedes and BMW have headquarters here. So that was one of our clients, and they found out. So if you work for BMW, you get all kinds of perks in terms of cars and things like that. They have a big picnic at the end of the year and all these things. And poor old Gary was about to retire. Gary was actually a contractor for 35 years with them. He was not an hourly employee. He got invited to all the parties that they had. He got invited to everything. And when someone had asked him, well, what's your retirement package from the company? And he says, I don't have one. I don't really work for the company. And he talked to an attorney and they found out, and he had to get back paid as an employee for all those 35 years. And it turns out the guy that placed him there had retired. He lived in Boca somewhere, and he was getting checks every month from Mercedes, or I'm sorry, BMW, for that contractor for like 20 years. He was retired, just collecting a check, but they actually got sued for that and they had to pay him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this is a couple slides for you guys to read over. You know, we're not going to read through these right now, but these are definitions of employer-employee relationships. It goes both ways. So I didn't share the total compensation contract on here, which is our 26-page contract where we build your compensation individually. And inside of there, we have an entire segment just on defining what that looks like. I'm going to give you guys a thought. I believe in our industry, listening and really observing what I've seen is that I think that owners are somewhat responsible for not sending the right message to employees, how to act like an employee. We allow them because they think, employees truly think this. And you guys have heard this, the buzz of this. And I can immediately hear when it starts going wrong with somebody. They have the wrong mentality. Our industry is being disrupted by the subcontractor gig economy. It just is not just disrupted, it's literally being like torn apart. And so we have to really think hard about defining that very clearly. There's a lot of people that don't have clarity about this topic. And so when you are treating your employees like, oh, I don't want to pay the payroll tax, so I'm going to 1099 them instead, so I can avoid that and skirt around that issue, that is a decision made, but that is a lack mentality decision in your company that makes you go non-compliant. And you are therefore doing something legally called misclassification. And so when you are misclassifying an employee to be a subcontractor by 1099ing them, then without the proper legal separation, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying you should create the proper legal structure, if you will. Okay, so if you're going to do that, you should do that. That is a class in itself. We can just spend an hour just on that. So I'm not going to, again, go down that rabbit hole. But if you guys want help on this, please reach out to James, Derek, myself. We can definitely talk you through this and we can help you understand this topic a little bit better. If you guys would like to address this on part 2, I would love to dive into this a little bit further. And Derek and I will go down that rabbit hole and it will be, it'll be something else. So anyway, but just understand that these are 2 very clear definition sets. We as business owners have to send the right message to our employees. You are an employee. Therefore, as your employee, if I ask you to do the laundry and I ask you to practice on this mannequin, then by God, you should do it. You don't tell me I'm a commission-based stylist and you don't do it. Or I no longer have to clean because I'm a commission-based stylist. Commission is a compensation structure. It is not a business model. So we got to get that right. Okay. So I want you guys to understand that if we don't clarify that for them and we don't explain to them and define for them, and when should you do this? You should do this at the moment you meet them, the moment you hire them, the moment you talk about that with anything with them in your business. Here at this salon, we have very clear expectations of our employees, and we expect you as an employee to have very clear expectations of us. And then if you do this, we will continue to grow you. However, let me give you a few examples. The example is, if I ask you to practice on something because you're part of training process and you're onboarding, then you have to do it because you're an employee. Now, am I going to be unreasonable and ask you to come to a class if you're already a master at balayage? If you're a master at balayage and you're booked out at 90% production rate, why do you need to come to a balayage class? If you want to, it's not mandatory. But for you who don't know how to do a balayage, who can't book a balayage because you're terrified and you're not confident, then babe, you got to come to the balayage class. It's mandatory. And as your employer, I'm telling you that. You don't get to tell me, oh, I'm commissioned now. Because what you're doing, that employee, what they're thinking is commission translates to subcontractor. That's not the case. Subcontractor is considered not non-exempt 1099 classification of employee. That's what that means. And again, I'm going to stop here because I'm going to keep going. It's going to get very late. So you guys good? Performance measuring, I put performance twice there, KPIs. In this, it's growth strategies, incentives, quantitative and qualitative key performance metrics. What I mean by that is that the metrics actually have to make sense. They actually have to be measured, and that you can qualify the metric as a necessity. Meaning if the metric is just a stupid random metric, then don't apply it. It doesn't make sense. Keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Use metrics that make sense for your business. If I use 10 metrics and it doesn't make sense for your business to use 10 metrics, you don't have to. You know, this is what I don't like about plug-in coaching formulas, companies that just have like, here's our plug-in model. And then here's, to be, at tier 2, you have to plug in this metric. If it doesn't make sense for your business and you don't have team collaboration, then get rid of it. It doesn't make sense. It's not a qualitative performance metric. Make sure you can qualify that it's important and necessary to your team's performance. And quantitative means that you can actually measure it. If you can't measure a metric, there's no point in having it. Because if I say to you, what's the retention rate? And you're like, I don't know. And you like pull up a report, I can't help you there. We have to actually track the data, and you actually have to input the data so it makes sense, so you're reading properly. Because how do I create higher levels of compensation if I can't measure demands correctly? Right, Derek? So employee awareness of growth opportunities. This is an important one. How well are you communicating your KPIs and the expectations of the quantitative and qualitative key performance metrics to their growth opportunities? How well do you translate that for them? How well do you talk about that and educate that and coach that and convey that message? So you got to think about what that is. Here's another component of a compensation plan that, by the way, many salons don't have, which is the first place to start. So you need to create job descriptions and task lists. Many of you don't have this. They're just like, she's a stylist, she's an assistant, she's a front desk person, and that's it. That's it. And you need more than that. There are 4 teams to a business, to a salon business. There are service providers. And by the way, service providers can also have separate sub-teams. You could have spa service providers. You could have massage service providers. You could have colorist service providers. These are departments in your business. You guys know some of these type of salons. You might not be that kind of salon, but you do know some of these type of salons. And then you also have, in the assistant category, there's different kinds of assistants. There's not only one kind of assistant, there's many kinds of assistants. And then front desk team, there's many kind of front desk teams. So now you have teams inside of that. So here are your 4 teams again: service providers, front desk, which are support teams, assistant teams, which again are support teams, and then leadership, which is the biggest support team of all, because that's basically what leadership team is. They are designed to serve the team's needs in order to help the team grow and the functionality of the business and the magnification of revenue and productivity. That's what leadership is. And so to me, there's a lot of other things, but how to be a great one, that's a different story. Andrew can teach you all day long about that. But I like to talk tactics. I want to talk tactics and real work. Like, what do I want you to do as my leader? Here's your task list. It must be completed by Friday at 5 p.m. And I need to have a check-in for accountability on that. And then that was done, right? And so do you guys understand like how you can run these task lists a little bit more effectively? So some of the metrics behind this site, and this is, by the way, on our compensation contract. I just put this in a slide form for here. So stylist specific task. Why do I have stylist specific task? Because stylists need to know, even though you are commission and you are a producer, you still have tasks. Okay. The only producer that never has to have another job other than to stay chained to that chair is somebody who's producing at 95% and above. If you are production rates at 95% and above, and you're securing retention of 9 out of 10 clients, you have 90% retention, you have 90% pre-booking. If you have those kind of metrics, I'll hire your personal assistant. You never have to clean another damn thing. You see what I mean? Because her or his time is better served serving the guest because they're producing a high level of demand. They're the rainmakers. And so stay making rain. All of these other things we can forgive and forget and move on, and we can hire an assistant to help you do that. And then you drive up productivity and your assistant helps you drive up productivity. But if you're not at that rate, you got a task list. So let's review what that looks like. And by the way, it's on a contract so that you sign an initial that you understand what your tasks are. So that when they're not doing it, you go back to the contract and you say, remember that contract you signed that said you understand what your stylist tasks are? Like at the end of the night, clean your damn station, you know, some of those problems. So then you get it taken care of, right? And so I give a very nice long list here for you guys to use. This is for you to use. Please feel free to use our task list for your stylist. But if you really, really want the contract, let us know. We have a coaching program that we can help you with that, and we can coach behind that and give you more of the information. Okay, so those are just, now we have a whole separate task list for what we call team task list, which is for the assistant and the front desk. They're required to do outside of their normal duties of answering the phone, booking clients, prepping clients, checking in. Now we've added COVID procedures, et cetera, et cetera. Those are their duty list. We've added to them front desk. You also need to, like, you know, pick up towels when you're walking around. You need to sweep up the front area. You need to sweep the inventory. You need to box, you know, put the inventory away when it comes in boxes, et cetera, et cetera. So now there's other things that you add. So think about all the tasks that you need to do so you're not going crazy with it. Remember, guys, if you're growing your team, you need to actually let them know, to be honest, you're doing them an enormous favor by telling them what you expect of them. Because Iva, do you agree with this? Most of the assistants that we talk to, they're like, I have no idea what she wants. Most of the stylists that we talk to, it's like walking on eggshells around that owner. They have no, they're pissed off all the time and they never know what to ask us. And I never know what to do. I just try to walk around looking busy and hopefully it'll like go under the radar. That's not a really conducive team. That's not really something that is amazing and magical in production, right? All right. Taxes, you see, I left it blank because I don't want to get into it. but
blank, does that mean you don't have to pay them?
No, I left it blank because I thought I'm gonna leave that for another time. I think we should just talk about that in itself.
Talk about a rabbit hole.
Yeah, talk about a rabbit hole. If you're an employer and you have employees, you have to pay payroll taxes. Get a CPA. That's my advice. I was just going to get a good CPA. You don't have a good CPA. I have a fantastic CPA. That CPA will help you with your taxes. Okay. Don't avoid it. And by the way, get an awesome payroll company. If you can't manage it yourself, you don't have to do payroll. You can just get a great payroll company and they will handle all of that for you. So you don't have to worry about that. You just make sure that somebody else is doing it right for you. Okay. But it is a component of it, which means that I'm going to give you the metric or the number. Typically in a business, you will spend on payroll taxes, matching in total payroll taxes, roughly anywhere from 18 to 22% of your total service revenue. Yes, that's true. This is why salons or salon owners have maneuvered to 1099 because they want to avoid that. Because it's a huge chunk of money. Would you guys agree with me? All right, give me 1 second. My kids are being rowdy. Hold on. You want to hear me yell at them? Boys! Quiet. I'm teaching. They're up there, they're getting rowdy. Single mom. All right. Team building. That's the next component of your business, of your compensation plans. Develop your 4 teams. I told you what those teams are. And in your team building, Derek, you were asking me what some of the things that I look at in developing how the career ladders of how to build it. We have a very intricate career ladder structure. I believe that growing people requires a lot of forethought and a lot of preparation. And so I like to put a lot of time and a lot of energy into that because growing people is something very near and dear to me. And I think that the more you communicate accuracy to them and exactly what your expectations are, I think the better off you're going to be in the long run. It starts with, honestly, in team building, you do need to have constant recruitment and internships available to seek out new talent. It's a very important level that a lot of people miss. Meaning, one of the best things you can do for schools, they're like, how do I get schools to pay attention? We'll pay them. And I'm not saying pay the teachers, I'm saying pay the students. Pay the students an internship fee. You know, I'm going to pay you $10 an hour to come, you know, intern with me for a month. You know, so I want you to do 20 hours a week, and I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to talk to your school about giving you hours so you can come and see if you like it here. And that's a real internship. And I want you to work them to death, but I want you to train them to death too. And so that's how you really find a really good way of finding people, by the way. All right. Career ladders, organizational structure. I am like, that is near and dear to me. You can ask Iva about that. Tiered pricing, an absolute necessity. Promoting from within. I would talk about promoting a lot. I want you to celebrate promotions like any other company. You know, like a lot of salons basically just kind of go, well, I guess you're up a tier now, I guess. And then it's nothing. It's nothing. Or they don't even raise prices ever. And they allow the stylist to determine what that price needs to be done. So they'll say something on their menu at haircuts, $50 plus. Well, you know what the plus means, right? Or and up. I love that one, and up. You know what that means, right? It just means that that's their tier system, just completely unstructured. It's just an unstructured tier system. And so it's an unstructured career ladder. It's an unstructured organizational structure. It's an unstructured career path. It's unstructured all around. I would recommend that you never let your team decide what price they need to be on. If they want a higher price, they can come talk to you and say, I want to be on a higher price, and you figure out a path to get them there ASAP, by the way. But you don't let them determine in the moment at the desk quietly without being tracked and monitored what a price of the service is going to be. You're not managing money and revenue capture in that way. You're being gutted. That's really what that translates to. And so we got to manage discounting and lack
Nikki,
of
I got to jump
pricing.
in here. One of my biggest pet peeves is a stylist, when they're supposed to upcharge, they go up to the desk and they're afraid to upcharge. If it's structured, that doesn't happen.
Right. If you tell them what to, because the stylist, it's not that they don't want to charge, it's that they don't know what to charge and they don't know who to ask about it. And then they're afraid to charge because, you know why? Because the stylist has built an intimate relationship with that client, and they sometimes too intimate. And then now they're like their friend and they're texting and shit like that. And then all of a sudden there is literally no boundary set between that stylist and that client. That stylist is going to discount all day long. So don't do that. Take the money part out of that stylist's hands. Let them build a relationship. You let the front desk handle it. And if you don't have front desk, then hire one, because I guarantee you what you're losing in discounting is probably going to pay for that front desk and beyond. Agreed, guys? Okay. Education and formal training systems. This does have to be formal. Performance evaluations. This does have to be regular. Career advancement and goal setting. You need to have a regular review of progress and help them understand what they're contributing to your team. Really important, guys. They do need to understand what they're contributing. And you need to speak to them in a language that helps them understand how much you have their backs and how much you want to give them the world. And they just have to come and do the work, you know? And build long-term goals and increase. All right, so here are some metrics for growing stylists behind the chair that we use. I'm not gonna, again, read through all of these, but I'm gonna pick out a couple of key points. The timing allocations, really, really important to me. Your timing is something that, or the producer's timing is something that I work on diligently, right? We focus on timing, and they're always like, it's so much stress. Well, you know what? It won't be stress when you're fast. You're fine. Just keep pushing it through. And so we try to get them faster and faster and faster. Time equals money in this industry. And if you're not fast, you got to get faster. I'm not saying rush through it. In this generation, by the way, with the BTC crowd, is very stressful to me. You know, this is when I hear these people talking like, I don't like to take more than one client a day, maybe. And, you know, just charge your worth. What the F does that mean? I swear to God, I have no idea what that means. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, live in the real world today, please. Okay. I'm going to really irritate some people here, but you don't get to be the big wig, you know, on stage, BDC artistic team or whatever, and then you charge $600, and then you're telling some stylists that just graduated from school that charge your worth and take one client a day. That won't work. Okay, that is not going to work. Now, I'm not saying that the olden days of burn and churn doesn't need to evolve. I'm not saying that. However, I am saying that there needs to be a balance in what we're doing, and understand that when somebody does need to build more time into a service, that you build more price into it. That's what I'm suggesting. And so we have to think about timing allocation. So I pull that out a lot. And so when we teach our team about timing allocations, we translate it effectively to money so that they can see exactly what their check will be, you know, for it and without it, right? Iva, you want to cover a couple of these? I'm going to grab my charger. I forgot to plug in my computer. So you want to just talk about, the salon price increases or the tier pricing? Give me 2 seconds.
Hello. Sorry, I forgot to unmute. The tier pricing, I always give this example. We had a stylist who was getting a tier jump. The notice went on her station, said congratulations on her promotion. The client asked what that meant. Does it mean your prices are going up? And the stylist's reply was yes. And she said, well, I'm really on a strict income and I just can't afford to spend any more than I'm already spending. So the stylist was kind enough to say, well, you know what, let me go up front and let me see who's available. And I'm going to recommend someone to you that's at my current price level. So she came up front. I happened to be standing there that day. And she was looking at it and she said, I'm trying to find her a new stylist. And I said, why is she going to someone else? And she said, because she can't afford my prices. And I said, what do you mean she can't afford your prices? And she said, well, I'm getting a tier jump and she can't afford my increase. And I said, well, how much is your increase? And she said, I don't know. I said, well, then how do you know if she can afford it or not? So she said, well, I don't know. She said she can't afford an increase. I said, hold on, what service is she getting? So we looked, it was a $5 increase. So she went back to the client and she said, this is the price difference. It's a $5 increase and I found someone who can do it for you. And the woman said to her, if it's only $5, I'm not going anywhere. So the moral to this story is, yes, your stylists are going to get a tier jump and they're going to get a price increase, but half the time they don't even know what their prices went to. So they're losing clients for no reason. And had she not looked and had she not checked on it, that stylist would, or that client would have been going somewhere else to another stylist in our salon.
Right. I think people are more afraid of the price increase than the actual dollar amount half the time. So we can't think about, you know, Derek and I are definitely on the same page about this because, you know, I just have zero fear of it. You know, I guess
that's my point. They're afraid of a price increase. The problem is they don't even know how much it is.
Right. All right. Good. Everybody good? So everybody still with me? Any questions I got to answer? James, anything? All right.
Everybody's good. So far, I feel like they're probably on your morning call too. So they're all like rock stars right now.
Are you all glassy eyed and like drinking now, or are you actually like hearing what I'm saying? Employee benefits is basically called variable pay, and the purpose of it is to incentivize your staff. It is, some benefits are required, like unemployment and workman's comp. Those are required benefits. If you know union stuff, you know that, but it's legally required. So, but that is not something you have to withhold that and put money into it, etc. Okay. Now, employee benefits that are variable and innovative, that's something different. And so you don't have to pay benefits legally. However, I would say that they're actually quite clever. And we worked with our CPA on these things in order to create benefits that are somehow impact you from a tax perspective positively. Okay, I'm not saying they're all deductible. I'm just saying that they can impact you positively from a tax perspective, which means that you are taking dollars that you would normally pay in taxes and refueling it back into your business in order to incentivize your team and create longevity and incentivize performance. So Andrew, you talk a lot about performance, right? High performance. Well, some people are motivated by money and or some people are motivated by something else. You know, we had a young lady, she was a manager, and see this one right here, lunch reimbursement. That shit motivated her more than anything I've ever seen in my entire life. All she wanted was lunch reimbursement. I don't know why, she loved to eat every day. What's for lunch? And
Girl, it was all about the Cheetos.
All about that. So you never know what incentivizes somebody. I was trying to throw a little humor in there, but you guys get the idea, but that's a true story. But anyway, you guys get the idea about some of the benefits. I'm not going to read through all of these. In our 2-day compensation class, we will itemize out every single one of them. And our CPA will be on that class with us. And he will discuss how that impacts you from a tax perspective, of how you could create basically deductions and expense some of these things. So that's going to be, again, everything in a creative but compliant way, right? But there are methodologies to doing this. Do you like that, Derek, James, and Andrew? Feel good about that? Okay. So I just gave you some ideas here. There are more, you know, and talk to your accountant. Your CPA is going to give you great ideas to what can be deductible benefits on and what you can do. You know, I'm going to go to this one. See that company car lease right there? Company car leases are a brilliant way to give increases to your company, and it ties them to you. Basically, all of these things are like golden handcuffs to your top producers and to your team that's producing for you. And that's the purpose of why you have this. Okay.
Nikki, I got to jump in right there.
Yeah.
One of my coaching clients did this long ago. She rented little BMWs or leased them for each one of her employees that hit a certain goal. Do you think those employees are ever leaving that salon? The answer is hell no, hell no. And it was part of their salary and it was a complete write-off. So there's some cool things you can do, like you said, to create golden handcuffs around employees.
Right. I mean, if you're really talking about losing people this day and age, when you're losing people to their own business, to start their own suites or to go rental or something else, well, it's because you've tapped out. Like at a certain level, they're not getting anything more from you, and you don't have any career ladder for them. You don't have any compensation scalability for them. So why would they stay? If they want more, they have to take their business elsewhere so they can keep all of it, even, which by the way, is another can of worms I'm not going to touch, but you know, they have to understand. And some of you guys are like, well, what's the difference between paying for this versus paying for, you know, higher pay? Because in someone's mind, these things hold more value than an extra $100 or an extra $200. Do you see what I'm saying? Like an extra $200 raise means, and by the way, to get a car lease, most car leases are anywhere from for normal cars, not BMWs, but most car leases can sit around that $200 to $300 range for a car lease. And especially if you have a front desk young lady that might be a single girl trying to move out, or a guy, and he just doesn't have he has a junky car. Are you kidding me? These are the kind of things that make huge, huge differences. Another thing is free salon services for employees and free family beauty services. This is something you can do very well. That, by the way, is a differentiating point that most stylists and salon professionals love. And by the way, it benefits you to do this because here's like a rule that I have in our business. I don't like anybody to go to any other salon to get their hair done. If you are in a salon with 25 stylists, there's no reason you would be going to a salon down the street to go get your hair done. It's a policy for me. And so when I have other stylists from other salons come in and say, oh, I work at so-and-so, but I'm coming here to get my hair done because there's no one there that I trust to do my hair. How many of you guys have lived through that, right? That's a problem. That's a big problem in a lot of ways. Again, we don't have to talk about why, but I think you can see why. And so if you allow all of the salon services for employees and their family to be done in the salon, what you're doing is you're deepening the well of, and especially that family, they're going to promote that stylist like crazy. They're going to promote it like crazy. Stop creating arbitrary policies that don't help your business. Like everybody pays full service on a Saturday or whatever. You know what? Just don't come on a Saturday. We're busy. Just come on this day and I'll do your hair. You know, just think about these things like this. Think about your policies in a different way. All right. I wanted to share this with you guys, but I'm gonna come back to that. All right, so let's talk about employment, performance, and training contracts. This is, in essence, the things that you are going to need to make sure that you stay incredibly compliant within your compensation programs. Tier jump calendars. This is the form that we have to map out your annual tier jumps for everybody. So you, the business owner, map out how you're promoting and giving everyone raises for that year. You're thinking, you're looking at the metrics, you're pre-planning, you're pre-strategizing. So that's an important thing to remember. Compensation plan and contract. This is 26 pages with definitions, with contracts, and we fill it out. We want to fill it out every year, and we want to make sure that it evolves as they constantly get promoted. So a formal promotion would mean we reevaluate the compensation plan and contract. We go back into it and we fill it out. And by the way, they sign it. So legally, they understand what they're being paid. And by the way, there's a description, cost of goods, et cetera, and all of that. So we explain, which is back bar cost. Okay. So again, that's another rabbit hole. We can talk about it in part 2, but just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about why that compensation contract is important. The total compensation plan, I will come back to that. If you're going to create a salon plan and an individual plan, the training contracts per team, which means if you need to do something for like a bridal team, let's say. So if you want to be part of our bridal team where you go out and you teach and you do bridal work outside, off-site, here's a separate contract for you guys to be part on this bridal team to do the work. You're going to get paid separately for that outside of that. And that's added as an addendum to the training contract. Non-disclosure, non-solicitation, non-compete contracts. We have all of those. So you just can discuss that with us if you need it. Onboarding contracts, performance review forms. Really important. And by the way, on Salon Owner Mastermind Facebook page, you guys have a ton of these, by the way, tons and tons. So go maximize out all of those forms too. All other employee forms, I spelled employee wrong there. Digital files on each employee. Let's talk about a total compensation plan is. What it is you, being the business owner, develops an entire system or an entire strategy for paying your team. What it should include is your strategic commission structure, plan salaries for targeted positions, a benefits package, an hourly pay scale for starter positions, an incentive plan, a leadership pay scale, a bonus plan. You got it, right? So what that looks like is like this in numbers. So if you go to the numbers, here we go. We have all of the numbers that we want to add to it. And this gives you an idea as to the budget. Remember in the beginning when I said your business assessments and it is in alignment with your business concepts, this is how this helps you. You're going to create something like this so that you can see how this impacts it. So you see a salon with 8 employees generating $1 million in gross annual sales, which is roughly $100,000 a year, let's say, or per employee. Just, we're not including retail here, just for compensation. Commission is 40%, let's say, or maybe plus. Vacation benefit, $1,500 annually. So I have allotted a $1,500 budget to each one of those employees to have a vacation budget or benefit. Performance bonuses is $4,000. So I have a budget of $333 a month that I'm going to pay out in incentives to drive performance. Medical insurance, $1,800 annually. That's $150 a month. Et cetera, et cetera. You guys see all of it, right? So at the end of it, I've created a total compensation plan that equals to $14,140 in benefits, $40,000 in commission, which is about 35% of payroll expenses times 8 employees, which is $113,120 annual expense for the benefits package to the owner. So now you know to have this kind of package in your business, you need to generate and find $113,000 somewhere in your company, working with a coach, hopefully, in order to look at your P&L, and we reallocate funds that don't need to be spent on other things. Because why would you keep spending money on things that you don't need? Why wouldn't you put money into things like this, which is to build and drive your team upwards? And this is what we call a very comprehensive compensation plan. Now I'm going to come back to the pie that I made. All right. So this is just basically, I'm going to explain this to you very simply. This is just an overview of one person. It's just an administrative assistant. Let's say you want to hire like a manager, or you want to hire like a front desk person or something like that, or an assistant for yourself perhaps. And so pay for time worked is a large piece of the pie. Let's say their salary is $39,000. Let's say you add paid time off, right? And so this budget allocation in the total compensation plan for this particular position would look like 2,250. The total incentive that you could incentivize them, you have a $2,500 working budget, which means that per year you could divvy that up per month or per quarter. And you can say, we're going to pay you to do this task, this task, this task, and this is how much I'm going to pay you extra for that. Total benefit packages from what I showed you earlier is, let's say, 6,040, and then total taxes would be 2,986, let's say. Okay, just roughly. These numbers aren't accurate. They're just giving you an example of how you create a compensation structure for one individual of one position inside your business. You guys are thinking, really, I'm not going to do this. Well, eventually, you're going to probably have to. So I would suggest that you start thinking about what that looks like. Okay. So this is an example. I want to share this with you guys of some work that we did for one of our clients. She has a leader and she wants us to help us build her personal compensation plan. So, you know, that little pie sheet that I showed you, or pie that I showed you up top? This is basically the pie written out into a formal contract that this young lady will sign to agree to doing the task and to understand who she is and her role and position in the business. So we give a brief description of Marissa. These are, this is a scoring sheet, basically her to assess her abilities and her personality to see if she's good for the position or not. This just helps you assess if she's good, and it helps her see if she maybe needs to work on some other things, and so she won't be so resistant to it. You're asking for their buy-in in that. So that's just what that is. And so she put
Nikki,
her
Nikki, we've got a couple people jumping off, and they're asking if all these are going to be available after for them.
Yes, absolutely. Always. You guys know me. If you guys want the sheets and the forms, I will give that. It's totally fine. And you guys can go back and watch the rewatch as well. Or you can join the 2-day compensation class, which will be a very comprehensive course that will dive into all of these very detailed. All right, so this is her task list, by the way, given to me by the owner. I'm not going to read them to you guys. You guys can see here are weekly tasks, and the highlight ones are the ones we're still working on. The monthly is 8.5 hours. We've scheduled 8.5 hours for her to do this on her schedule, so she will have time to achieve it. So these are all the tasks that we want her to do. The training program, she wants her to spend 6 hours a week on it to develop the training program and to create training inside the business. So then all of those are her tasks that she expects. It's been negotiated. She's talked about it. She's had empowering conversations, etc. And then this is a compensation and benefit plan. So she will hold 3 positions in this business. Position 1 is a stylist, AKA service provider. Salon now has 3 full-time stylists. She pays her 50% commission, much against what I'm suggesting. However, she doesn't want to change it. That's fine. But, you know, as a coach, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm going to help facilitate what you want to do. The commission is 10% higher than other staff. She feels like this needs to be management pay. I utterly disagree with this. But like I said, she wants to do that. It's totally fine. Okay, so hourly, she has to make sure that the minimum wage, if the salary does not exceed hours or exceed clocked to equal minimum wage. So she will always receive a minimum guarantee of minimum wage. There is no salary on this position. So on another position, she has a salary. And benefits, she doesn't want to really do that yet, but she wants to think about paid vacation, and we do offer AFLAC. Position 2, salon leader. She gets paid for $300 a week, her salary for the task list above. She also will be called the performance operations manager or salon leader, whichever she chooses. Position 3 is salon trainer, creative and retail salon leader. This is going to be that trainer when she trains outside of her normal hours on her days off. Under formal training, she will receive $18 an hour. The salon needs 3 hours of training per month beginning in January. So we've helped identify that for her. So I just wanted to share this with you. This is like real work, real time, real business, real person. So you guys really understand what it is. But I want to share with you some interesting things. I also added and suggested to her that she become a retail trainer because she has, I think, 14 to 18% retail on average to RTS on normal average. So 14 is her low, 18 is her high. And I think that's a brilliant retailer, to be honest with you. And so I suggested that she become a retail trainer as well if she's going to be developing the training program. So here you give your, we talked about some key points. She will be paid. You guys can read this when you guys read it, but I'm not going to again read it all to you, but she must do something. So must create and facilitate a program, train it every 6 weeks, every 6 weeks or 8 times per year, to meet a goal of $2,200 a month. They're doing about $1,400 to $1,500 a month right now. And she wants to hit a $2,200 goal. So if that's the sales quota in total, she, as the salon leader for doing this, will receive 5% of the total salon sales to be paid as an additional retail bonus. And she has to decide how often she wants to pay that out. But you can see that comes down to be about, you'll see here, 5% of the 2,350 is going to be about 117.50 per month. So that would be an addition. So do you guys see how you create this very diversified compensation plan for someone? Again, this is something, if you work with a coach, it's much easier but I've provided the forms for you if you want to DIY it and then go from there. Okay. And I'm almost wrapping at this point. This is just another breakdown that I wanted to share with you guys. That's just sort of an overview that I did for this other compensation class of another way of presenting a total compensation plan for you guys. So it's the commission structure. Then you offer here at different increments. This is that sliding pay scale, right? At different things, paid vacations, retail commissions, life insurance, internal education, external education, product benefits, et cetera, et cetera. You list it all out. This is just another plan. Again, some more colorful, more innovative benefits. And I think that is really, I hope, has been eye-opening for you guys to see the different components that go into it. So I want to really explain to you that compensation is not to be taught in an hour or an hour and 15. I hope you guys can get some knowledge of compensation, understand how much we have to expand our thinking about compensation and how creative ways to build and expand on our compensation plans can really drive our companies into different directions, into a much larger playing field, and just play at a different level, for our industry. So some of the key takeaways I really want to share with you is just, you need to be a bit more strategic and understand and market to the positions you're hiring for, set goals and incentives that align with your business strategies, incent all staff at all times. Whenever you can, use objective, qualitative and quantitative metrics, right? And then make sure that you manage proactively, that you're constantly doing that. And so those are some of the key takeaways I hope that you see that we put together tonight for you. Are there any questions that I really need to address for you guys at this point? If you want to sign on to the compensation class that we are providing November 29th and November 30th, again, imagine this, but 10 times bigger. Well, actually 18 times bigger. So there's just going to be a ton of information. And I didn't provide sliding scales on here tonight because I know that's what you guys are like. I want sliding scales. It's not correct. We can't just give you a sliding scale. It would be like me teaching you how to fix a car through Zoom. That would be like me giving you a sliding scale through Zoom. Okay. It's like, oh, go fix that car now and get it running when it's like a piece of crap. It's not going to work. I'm not saying your business is a piece of crap. I'm saying your compensation plan isn't deep yet, and it's not qualitative and quantitative yet. You haven't filled it with the right content and the right strategies and the right thinking. That requires more education. You need to take at least 2 days of learning how to fix a car before you know how to fix a car. Okay.
So Nikki, a lot of people are saying, wow, that's a lot of information. Yes, it is a lot of information. But I would say to you that the class we have coming up that I'm participating with Nikki and a lot of other people from the industry, it's going to be more of a deep dive and individualized, so we can take you through your goals. You can build them with us. I mean, 2 days of education on just this is amazing. You'll be able to do one-on-ones and build this stuff as we're going through it. This is great for anybody that can't participate and wants to be a do-it-yourselfer, as Nikki said. You can figure it out on your own. By all means, do it. But if you really want to be coached and get a deep dive into this, then Nikki, Iva, you can talk about the class that's coming up that we're going to do a 2-day on.
I want to answer that thing when I hear people say that's a lot of information. I want to say this. There is going to come a time in your life that there was a time in your life you made a decision to be a business owner. And then at another point, you made a decision to employ people. And then on top of that, when you made that decision to employ people, that means that you agreed consciously or unconsciously, I don't know, that you were going to grow people. And would you all agree with me that if somebody comes to work for your company, don't you think that they would want you to get whatever you could in information to understand how to pay them compliantly, accurately, and with scalability versus saying it's too much information, I can't do it, I'm going to stick with my old way of doing it, and that's how it's going to be? What would your team want from you? What does your team need from you? Do you need to invest in this? Do you need to give this kind of attention to something that's so vitally important? There are the primary focuses, guys, and there are the secondary focuses. And primary focuses require coaching and require assistance and require collaboration. And this is not for you to do on your own. I would say that at this point in time, you have to make a decision. You've already unconsciously maybe made the decision or conscious to employ people. You need to now make the conscious decision that you're going to become a stellar business owner, not just a salon owner, a stellar business owner, in order to drive your company to the right direction for your area and your community and your people. Andrew, I think you wanted to say something.
Nikki?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have a take on this, that without something like this, you're not respecting yourself. You're not respecting your team to give them the best that you can do. You're not respecting your business, and you're not respecting your clients, because at the end of the day, this gives them a better place to go to. And it's scary, this stuff, because it's a lot. And it raises a ton of issues. I'm not good enough. I don't know this stuff. I'll be overwhelmed. But that's the reason for the course. And people will take you by the hand and lead you the way. This is not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Get your ducks in order, and it's a process, not an event. That's the course is an event, but the implementation takes time. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Execution requires preparation. And I think that to be properly prepared, you need to be properly educated and informed first. And then you can make much bigger and better decisions for your business. And, you know, on this side of the fence, when you don't know something, it always seems scary. It never doesn't, because the unknown is always the scariest thing. But when you're on this side, all of a sudden you're like, that wasn't so bad. That was totally, totally great. And I feel more empowered because of it. So this is an empowerment thing too. We can talk about really inspirational things, and I'm going to leave that to the people that are really masters of it. I am not the master of inspiration. I'm the master of tactics. And I'm very good at that. And I am focused on that because I want you guys to have something that, you know, the empowerment of salon owners is very near and dear to me. It's a very important topic for me. I take it very seriously. And you know, I choose to serve this industry at a much higher level. And we said that in the class today with Gino. You know, I choose to be world centric in my thinking, and teaching these classes and putting together this kind of information, guys, as much time as it takes you, can you imagine how much time it takes me to prepare this information for you guys, to take that information from hundreds of resources to digest it down to what you need most to focus on. So I think that, and I did that out of the great love of this industry and wanting to empower business owners with the right information. So compensation functionality is very important to me. Pricing and compensation functionality. I hope you guys can see that. Should we wrap, or you guys want to add anything, or?
I think that was great. I think it's a great lead into our next call, Nikki. So Nikki's going to be back with us on the 23rd?
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be the week before her class that she's doing. So we'll post a bunch of info in. But guys, this is a real serious subject. The compensation. I think Nikki's probably one of my favorite people to explain how it works, because she's got a diverse team, and you know, and her and I have worked so well on it. If she could fix her full disc, she'd would be better off for her. But it's really important. So it's something that you really should, if you're contemplating working with a coach, this is a perfect topic to get in on and get on the class, and you can actually see, because every little step of that's going to help, whether it's building those profiles out for the job descriptions, And it keeps you, listen, compliance is key, right? But it keeps you accountable. Just like you want your staff to be accountable. If there's a set job description of what they're supposed to do, and they come and they say, well, I want more money or I want this, you can go back and say, wow, these are things that we're missing from my end, that you're not completing, and it gives you a nice balance.
So yeah, Derek, did you want to?
Nikki, Iva, just quickly, either one of you, can you post up the link for the class on both Facebook Live and here, or share it with James and he'll share it?
Yep, I'll share the direct link with you guys tonight as soon as I'm off the call, and I'll share it again. I'll reshare the class again. Just so you are aware what my mission and my purpose is, I'm trying to create. There is barely a soul that is teaching this topic, compensation, in this industry. Just so you guys are aware, there is hardly, and I know there are a couple people that do it beautifully, and a couple, like maybe two, maybe.
I think maybe they're all on this class.
Maybe. And so I don't think there's another resource that could teach compensation like the way that we will plan to teach it. And my goal, my broad vision for this is that I want Derek and John and Chris and Stephen and myself to be sort of this compensation guru. And when COVID is, a thing of the past and we can get out to doing conferences, we want to do a live workshop in order to really dive this deep into it. And so we will literally sit with you at a table in groups and you write out your compensation structure. And that's what the 2-day is about, by the way. It's not just lecturing, it's a workshop. You will have, trust me, a lot of worksheets, and you will be able to sit down and you will be able to write all your numbers in, and you will create your sliding scales. You will create your benefit packages, your budgets, and all of that in this class. So this is, I mean business when we say these 2 days. So this is not going to be fun. Get a lot of sleep beforehand.
Hey, Nick,
you know what's so great about it? I mean, you take a class like this and you come out, your confidence goes up, and you need confidence to be in business. And you need confidence when you sit down with your people. That's, and at the beginning, it's not easy.
Nope.
But that your coach gives you the support.
Right.
And that's what this is all about. If you want to move to the future, do it.
Right. Iva, you were saying something.
In that 2-day class, we're also going to cover compliance in the portion of onboarding. The compliance doesn't just stick with the pay, whether it's overtime or commission or minimum wage. There's compliance issues too with onboarding and certain things that you have to have in their file or have them read or sign in order to avoid a lawsuit later on.
And Iva will give you all of those and describe all of that to you guys. And we will talk about all the compliance qualifications as an employer in that class as well. Yep. So I'm very excited that we're going to do this. And Derek, I really am excited you decided to join on to that. I think it's going to be magic for a lot of business.
Absolutely.
Just bring leftover turkeys.
Iva, can you post up the link in the chat?
If you Iva, if you go directly, to the Statement Strong, don't just copy the Statement Strong. If you go to the class and then pull it down and copy the link to the actual class, the compensation class itself, that they can go right to it.
Yep.
Hang in there, folks. We're going to get the link up for all of you in Facebook Live.
If you're not sure about it, the investment is $297 a salon. I would highly recommend that you ask your managers or whoever is partnering with you to help you design this. This is not for you to do by yourself, guys. This is for you to do with someone who is going to partner with you, to collaborate with you to build this. And compared to most 2-day conferences like this, Derek, what are they normally, about 1,800 or something like that for 8?
So the average educator right now gets about 2,000 a day as a coach in salon education, right? So I mean, you're getting a minimum of $4,000 worth of education for $297. So, and I would say to go beyond that, you're going to put a plan in effect that could potentially save you hundreds of thousands of dollars or cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't implement it.
And some of you don't have the budget for a coach. I know some of you are like, I can't spend money on a coach right now, but you need compensation help. This will it can't replace a coach, but it definitely can help you drive that home a little bit more securely and confidently, like Andrew said, without having to get a coach right now to do that. Because normally if you do get a coach, they would spend a few months on working that with you. We cool? We good? Thank you guys for staying late with me. I'm sorry. I know that was a lot of information, but I hope that it was so worth your while. And this video will be up on SalonOps YouTube, so you can watch it again and again and again. So, you know,
Hold on, I'm almost there.
We are at part 2, by the way. Put that on your calendar, please. Part 2 will be on November 23rd. I know it's right before Thanksgiving. Some of you are going to be very busy. I know, but it'll be another hour and a half time frame, and we'll just do number 2. And I'd like to handle that one more Q&A. So come with a bunch of questions, please, for me based on what you really need. Thank you, everyone.
Hang in there for 2 seconds, just so Iva can get the link up.
Or you know what? You can email us too.
It should be on there.
I should have just posted it up here. I don't know why I didn't do that. Sorry.
James, did you get it? So you posted out to the Facebook group?
I didn't
see it
yet, but
I promise you, if you don't get it, I will come right up on here afterwards, and I will post about it.
Just put it on there.
Yeah, we'll repost too, and guys, we'll put the calendar up. That'll take us through the end of the year. Still a lot of really good content coming out. You know, we'll have, like I said, Nikki will be back on for part 2. Steve Gomez will be on with us in December. Anthony Whitaker will be with us, which should be a lot of fun. But we really wanted to start winding down, right? End of the year coming and everything else. But, you know, we can't control all this great content that everybody wants to bring to you. But
hey, James, I got to say, for any of you that are interested in coaching and marketing like we're doing right now, James has got a really good friend coming on who is not from the industry, but taught James. And, you know, I've learned a lot also about how to use Zoom and some really fancy features and things like that. You want to talk about that for a second, James, for next week?
Yeah, what's interesting is, so you guys know, obviously we do a lot of work with Salon Ninja. The sales funnels and the marketing funnels that go through Salon Ninja, that's not a new existence. Salon Ninja is just kind of making that super easy for you to do. So, well, but the idea behind it is that those are things that really salon owners didn't have access to. They didn't really have a marketing team to do it. And Joe sort of had been teaching that to sales teams forever now, and going out and doing a lot of these big seminars and things like that on stage. He's a little bit campy, so I love Joe. He's a lot of fun. But what I would say to you is, you know, some of the things that he's going to put into play and talk about, just know that you can go back and say, man, that seems like a lot of work. And all of a sudden you're like, bing, Salon Ninja is going to be able to take that. So use some of the concepts to be able to pull it back through the marketing. And it should be a lot of fun. Listen, Joe, we were doing these types of Zoom calls before anybody knew what they were. And we used to have open mics and had crazy people come on. And his famous line was like, I'll turn your camera on. Just don't be weird, dude. You know, like, and every once in a while, somebody really weird would come on and we'd have to X him out. But he'll be a lot of fun. And then obviously Anthony will be fun, and Nikki's part 2, which we do appreciate all the work today.
Part 2 is fun, Nikki.
Iva, you want to post that?
That's the fun part. Hey, Derek, aren't we having Zoom integrated into Salon Ninja?
We are. So interestingly enough, next month, Zoom will be live inside of Salon Ninja so that you can do virtual consultations on a regular basis. We've got some other cool features coming out also, which we'll talk about next month. I don't want to tease anybody too much, but there's some stuff coming out that's going to blow your mind. First of the year, we're going to have artificial intelligence built in with text marketing bots. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming in, and I don't mean Facebook Messenger bots. These are live human bots that will take you from a conversation in a bot right into a human conversation automatically through artificial intelligence. So some pretty cool stuff coming up.
That link is in the chat. I just clicked on it. It takes you right there.
Perfect.
Yeah, I saw it in the chat. Can you post it on Facebook, Iva? On a Facebook Live? James, can you copy it?
Yeah, we'll copy that and we'll get it posted. And guys, don't forget, we'll post a link too. If you did miss Nikki and Iva's class with Gino today, for $25, the content was phenomenal. and just know that $25 is going to go to hopefully a salon that's in need. I mean, obviously, like we said at the beginning of the call, I mean, you know, who wants to deal with wildfires on top of COVID and everything else? But they were able to raise thousands of dollars for that today. So hopefully you guys can continue to support that.
Thank you. And thank you, Nikki and Iva, and thanks, Gino, for doing that today. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody, for showing up tonight.
We appreciate you so much. You guys are doing good work.
Awesome, guys. Hey, we'll see everybody next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we will post the new calendar up that'll take us right through the end of the year. So good to see everybody.
All righty.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.